Hello student, hello. Once again, welcome. Hopefully that you all are good and enjoying the lectures. Now, we have to continue the previous one, that is previous lecture. Some important things that I already told you about the previous chapter. Hopefully that you have to just remind that, okay. The diagram is very important. No any reactions will be there, but here so many reaction will be present. And one more thing, this one is the preceding part. So the first question that today's topic is how the impulse will transmit. How the impulse will transmit. It means, suppose that here some sensation is there. So the impulse, the sensation or the stimulus will be transferred from here to the brain and from brain to this part. So how it was transferred, what are the mechanism involved in that? So the synapse diagram is in your syllabus. You have to already know about that one, but once again just roughly the diagram that I will make it. Suppose that this one is the diagram of synapse that you already know, okay. Not so many, that is 6 or 8 rounded synaptic vessels are there. Inside the synaptic vessels, that is around the synaptic vessels, mitochondria is present, okay. This one is presynaptic membrane and last one is postsynaptic membrane that I already told you. So first, before going through this lecture, first you just saw the previous lecture diagram, okay. Now always the impulse will always come in the negative form. So suppose that this one is the negative form, that is impulse, okay. Inside the synaptic vessels there is a positive ion chemical is present, that is called as acetylcholine, which have positive, work as a neurotransmitter. The question will come, okay. So due to the attraction process, it means positive and negative, due to the attraction process, okay, all the synaptic vessels or maximum synaptic vessels, okay, are just come at the membrane of synaptic nerve. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, okay. All the synaptic vessels or 6 will be there, okay. All the synaptic vessels will come, and here some mitochondria, okay. Now this one is presynaptic membrane and here is a, okay, that is impulse. So there will be a positive charge inside that is acetylcholine. Due to attraction, the pressure will be created on the wall of synaptic nerve, and due to the pressure the wall become ruptured. So the next step is very simple, okay. The wall become ruptured and you saw that the negative impulse is combined to the positive impulse. The negative impulse is just combined to the positive inside, okay. And here mitochondria is present. After that, after the connection, there is a vessels is created around that impulse. Vessels is created around that impulse. Okay, so that vessels formation is take place by this mitochondria. After the formation of vessels, this mitochondria just take that impulse here, okay, and this membrane will become, that is, fill. Okay, so the rupture membrane here are become fill, and this will become here, and this that is plus and minus, that is impulse will come here, and later we will proceed to the next one. Okay, so in this way the impulse will be transferred. Once again, first you listen very carefully. This one is the structure of synapse, all things that you know about the diagram, but here you see that impulse will become always in the negative form, and acetylcholine have a positive charge. Okay, so due to attraction in between the positive and negative, this positive charge have just come on the membrane of synaptic knob. Due to the attraction, the vessels create pressure on the synaptic knob wall. Due to this pressure, the wall become ruptured. Okay, after the rupturing, that positive ion is just combined to the negative one, that is impulse, and it form a vessels. Okay, after the forming of vessels, that mitochondria is just take all that these vessels, all the impulse inside that, this impulse will become inside that, and the ruptured membrane will become clear. Okay, so this is the one way. So later the another ways are so many. Okay, so synapse, the impulse transmission will be take place by this way. In alternate examination, okay, this question, that is how the impulse will be transmit, how the impulse will be transmission, how impression will transmit take place, this question will become in 3 or 5 marks. How it was come is 5 marks. In 5 marks it will be add the diagram of synapse also, the diagram of neuron also. Okay, suppose that question is there, that what is neuron, what is nerve cell, and how the impulse will be transferred. So this question will become in 5 marks, or only the question will become that how the impulse will be transferred, it will become in the 3 marks. So in this way the impulse will be transferred. Okay, now come to the nervous system. This one is important one. Nervous system, as I already told in that first chapter in digestive system, if system is there, if any system is there, so it will be not form on a single, okay, single component. It will form 2 or 3, it will form 2 or 3 components. Okay, so here this system have involved 3 component, 1, 2 and 3. First one is CNS, that is central nervous system, central nervous system. Okay, the second one is PNS, that is peripheral nervous system, peripheral nervous system. And the last one, that is third one, that is ANS, that is autonomical nervous system. Okay, in some books it was only 2, that is CNS and PNS, because this will come in PNS, but here we will divide into 3 because separate question will become from ANS so many times, that separate question that I will see, I already seen. So first there are so many 3 types you know. In CNS we have to know 2 that is first one is brain and the second one is spinal cord. First one is brain and second one is spinal cord. These two things we will know in the CNS. Okay, PNS, in PNS we have to know about the first, that is cranial nerve. Cranial nerve is approximately 12 pair in number or 12 in number. 12 pair in number, sorry, 12 pair in number. Okay. Cranial, as it name. Okay, so this nerve is arise from the brain. This question is that cranial nerve is arise from the brain, because the study of brain is called as craniology. So this we have to learn it very carefully. Okay. The second one, this one is cranial nerve. Second one is spinal nerve. Spinal nerve. Spinal nerve is approximately 31 pair in number. 31 pair in number. But spinal nerve are divided into three categories. The first one is called sensory nerve, then mixed nerve. Second one is mixed nerve, and the third one is motor nerve. Okay, so these are some points about the PNS. So all the things will be continue in the lecture. Come to the ANS. ANS are divided into two categories, that is sympathetic nerve, and second one is parasympathetic nerve. The two are there, that is sympathetic and parasympathetic. So first you draw it, and that branch you have to draw it. After that we will elaborate it. Okay, first you have clearly you draw it. Now, so in your book it will be started from CNS, then PNS, then ANS, but here in this, that is video lecture, first we will start that ANS, after that PNS, and last one is CNS. Okay, when I will teach in the class, then first I will start that CNS, after that PNS, after that last one is ANS, but here I am going to start first, that is ANS. Okay, now listen. Now the first one, that is ANS, that is autonomial nervous system. Autonomic nervous system means automatically this nervous system will work. First thing, before I started the nervous system, this nervous system, I told you one thing, just cite the hormone, keep just left the hormone, whatever that hormone that you have to, just left it, because the work of hormone is only depend on the behavior of gland, that is endocrine gland, in your syllabus. But here the nerves will be there, that is sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves will be there. So all the things are depend on the nerves, not the hormones. Hormones are basically, they are side by side, but here you know about that, only the nerve. Okay, so firstly we give the differences in between the two. First one is sympathetic, second one is parasympathetic, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Okay, now one condition that I will give you, fear. What are the things will be happen in the fear condition? The fear condition we will saw what are the condition will be there. In that condition our heartbeat will be increase, blood pressure increase, increasing of eyeball, pupil of eyes will be increase. Okay, sweat glands secrete more sweat, yani sweat gland activated, secretion of saliva will be less. Okay, tearing gland is activated, secretion of enzyme will be less, urinary bladder will be open. So these are some conditions these are some condition which will be take place in the fear one. Okay, this thing will be happen in the fear condition. So now we will write that. So all that conditions will be take place with the help of nerves. So this nerve, that is sympathetic nerve, is responsible for all this situation. Okay, so number one is blood pressure increased. Second one, heart beat increased. Third one, sweat gland more work. Sweat gland will do more work. Fourth, sweat gland more work, less secretion of digestive enzyme. Less secretion of digestive. Okay, increase size of people. Okay, sixth one, tears gland activated. Seventh, urinary bladder open. Yeah, urinary sphincter is open. So there are so many that I know about the 15 conditions, but here we will write only the seven condition. Later we will discuss about all the 15 condition, all the 15 or 20 condition will be there. So later we will discuss. These are some basic. So first you know the basic one. So these are some points will be take place in the fear condition and which was done by the sympathetic nerve. Clear? Parasympathetic nerve is just opposite the work of sympathetic nerve. It means blood pressure increases here, so blood pressure become normal. Second condition, heartbeat increases, heartbeat become normal. Third, sweat gland more work, less secretion of sweat. Okay, less secretion of digestive enzyme, regular secretion of digestive enzyme, increase the size of the people, maintain the size of people, tear gland activated, tear gland inactivate, urinary bladder open, urinary bladder closed, or urinary sphincter. Here in some book you will see here that urinary sphincter, that is also correct. Urinary sphincter is open, urinary sphincter is closed. So here you see that whatever the work will be done by that sympathetic nerve, it was just opposite to the parasympathetic nerve, or parasympathetic nerve is just opposite to the which one? Sympathetic nerve. So the works are very different, totally different to each other. Okay. So the term which are used for the opposition, that is both nerve, that is ANS nerve, simply that both nerve, that is parasympathetic and sympathetic nerve, are antagonistic. Antagonistic means opposite to, antagonistic to each other. Antagonistic to each other, it means opposite to each other. Okay, clear? So from here you will know maximum thing you need, you know very well. So the question will arise that name the two nerves which are antagonistic to each other, that is what, that is parasympathetic and sympathetic nerve. Basically they will know about the parasympathetic and parasympathetic because there are so many nerves are in our body which are antagonistic to each other. But in your course, that if the question will be question will become that is antagonistic, so you will only write that sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve. Points should be clear. Now this one is the part of ANS. Okay, so next one, that is what, first you write this one, all things that you write clearly. Write it, all the things, because here the blood pressure is also there, heartbeat is also increased. Okay, now come to the two things, that is for here PNS, that is peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system. In peripheral nervous system, okay, so many things are there, but the main is the two things you have to know very, very carefully. First, as you already know that cranial nerves, the number of cranial nerves, that is 12 pair in number. Number of spinal nerve, that 31 pair in number, that you already know. So only that thing will be in your course, but in higher classes so many things will be there about the cranial nerves and the spinal nerve. Okay, so now here I am going to tell you two things which was very clearly you have to know that, because one of the question will be already come and maximum time it will become, that is a reflex arc. What is the reflex arc? Reflex arc. Suppose that if you are sitting on a table or a chair or whatever is that, okay, so suddenly what will happen, suppose that some person have just take only the some hammer or all the things, and some you have just kept on your knees, on your kneecap. So what will happen, you have give some response, because your brain will be directly tell to them. That is the first thing. Second thing is that this is the difficult one, and this some simple one, just you think. Suppose that if there was a coffee mug, in that one hot coffee is there. So when you don't know that the coffee is hot or cold, okay, suppose that when you are going to touch, so some sensation or stimulus will be come from here, from tip to goes to the brain, and after that it will come here. So any response will be given by the brain to that hand. So that is basically called as reflex action, reflex arc. Simple, normal condition it will be there. Okay, one more time. Suppose that I know that the cup is hot. Suppose that a coffee cup is hot. When I am going to touch it, my brain know that the coffee mug is hot. So when I am touching it, that I am not just reflex it, okay, just only touch it and hold it. Okay, this is the normal one. Second condition is that suppose that think about that. You are sitting in a room and suddenly in your neighbor house or in your house, suppose that okay, some fire will be there, then all of a sudden you have just move out of the house. First condition. Second condition, suppose that you are sitting in a room and earthquake will come and suddenly you move out from the house. Second condition. Okay, so there are so many conditions which you give the sudden response, which will give the sudden response. It will be not controlled by the brain. Okay, now come to this one, reflex arc. Reflex arc, suppose that any hot object is there, any hot object or any object will be there. Okay, when I will touch it, okay, some impulse some nerve will be transmit the impulse to the brain. So suppose that here is a spinal cord, so the impulse will be transmit and come to the spinal cord. This one is the spinal cord. Okay, so here the impulse will be transferred and come to the spinal cord. Later on, this spinal cord is attached to our brain, that is with the help of cranial nerve. Okay, clear? Second thing, now this nerve is combined to the another nerve and this structure will be there. Okay, now this one you see. Now here you see that firstly this nerve is called sensory nerve. Sensory nerve, it means sensation will be there, or afferent nerve. Okay, clear? Chalo. Next one, this nerve which will combine to the brain, that is called as cranial nerve. Cranial nerve is non-myelinated nerve. Non-myelinated, that you already know. In the nerve on which myelin sheath is absent, that is called a non-myelinated nerve, and rest of them are myelinated nerve. Okay, this structure is called mixed nerve. It is also called as combined nerve, connective nerve, or so many names. 5 names are there, but here I am going to tell you only the 3 names. Rest of them I will tell you later. The mixed nerve, this nerve is called as motor or effector nerve. Effector nerve, effector nerve. Okay, so these are some points. So what is that? Is very simple one. You see here, sensory nerve take the stimulus from the object to the spinal cord. First point is clear. Sensory nerve take the information or stimulus from the object to the spinal cord. Clear? You have to write the point. Okay, later that nerve is combined to a common nerve that is called as mixed nerve. Why it was called mixed nerve? Because from here the information will come, after that the information will go to the cranial to the brain, and the brain will give the information and the information will mix here. So this one is called as mixed nerve. So this one is mixed nerve. Okay, after that whatever the information will become from the brain, later that information is go to that object with the help of motor nerve or effector nerve. Okay, so this one is called reflex arc. Okay, So this one is most important, because in alternate examination question will be arise from that. Okay, question, so many questions are arise from that. Okay, so one question, so many questions that I already told in between the lecture. So the question is that, one question, last question is, you see here, ki which in which nerve the impulse will be transferred fastly, in which nerve, that is cranial nerve, in between the cranial nerve, or that is spinal nerve. These are the spinal nerve because it is related to the spinal cord. That mixed nerve is sensory nerve and motor nerve are a, that is cranial nerve only, or spinal nerve, only the cranial nerve is okay. So which nerve, in which nerve that impulse transfer will be speeding, that is speed up, okay, in which fastly, in cranial nerve or spinal nerve. So this one is the question, and one thing will be left, that I will just continue in the next lecture, that is reflex action. That is most important, because sometimes the question is arise in between, what is the difference between reflex arc and reflex action. Okay, so many differences will be there. Okay, so this is all about today. Thank you.